Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and kick us off here. If everyone that has a camera and is comfortable being on would go ahead and flip their cameras on, that would be great. Thanks so much for joining today. Welcome everyone. We're going to have some great discussions today about something very near and dear to me, actually, which is developing FM talent. I work in the PD department here at IFMA, so I am particularly excited to hear what everyone has to say. Before we kick off the conversation, I'm going to run through a few reminders. Go ahead, as always, keep your mic muted unless you are speaking. We are recording the session, so it can be shared and viewed later on the World Workplace website, and I think they're going to put it on IFMA's YouTube channel, but regardless, it'll be on the World Workplace website through December 31st. This is meant to be interactive, so we want it to be, we want everyone to participate. We want it to be as if we were actually sitting around a round table, but we do only have 30 minutes. It will go by very quickly. So please keep your questions and comments brief so that everyone that wants to participate has the opportunity to do so. Additional content, if you're looking for more information about these topics and any of the other roundtables that are concurrently happening right now, they can be found on IFMA's Knowledge Library. So now I'm going to introduce our facilitators. We have two awesome people with us today that I am super excited to hear from. First is Kerriann Roche. Carrie has 20 years of facility experience, and she currently serves as the Vice President of Operations for C&W Services. And I just learned this yesterday, I think, which I think is so cool. She's the very first female VPO at C&W Services. So she oversees the business operational and leadership activities in her region. And then also with us, we have Dave Kimball. He is currently responsible for managing the operation of Sodexo's U.S. Corporate Services IFM business. He has 30 plus years of experience. He's been responsible for real estate, operations and maintenance, construction projects, programs, and energy. And he also spent 28 years with Verizon Corporate Real Estate Group and 8 years with service providers. So we've got a lot of history and experience here. Again, we do want everyone to participate. So we're going to kick off the conversation. Feel free to jump in where you see fit. I've also got some questions that we received from registrants that we'll kind of talk about as well. If you guys think of anything else, feel free to contribute to the conversation. So the first thing that we're going to visit, we want to talk about how staffing challenges have changed pre-COVID versus post-COVID, and I'm going to have Dave go ahead and kick that off.
Yeah, thank you, Brittany. This is a really interesting question, and just to give you some sense, we have in the U.S. we have 150,000 employees, so we're continually hiring people. And I will tell you, post-COVID, everybody knows that the unemployment rate was very low, and in this industry, in the facilities industry, it was the same. It was very difficult to find qualified candidates. The market was very tight. So we had to do certainly some innovative things to find people. But I will tell you, post-COVID, because we've been filling jobs through this whole period, the market's become a lot looser. And unfortunately, a lot of our peers have lost positions for whatever reason. I do think it's a short-lived period. And I think once COVID is over, I think the economy will get back and people will be employed again. But right now, it's really, for an employer, it's really a good time because there are very qualified people out there, looking for positions who want to work and have a great background. The downside of it is, it's hiring somebody today versus pre-COVID. It's a lot different, right? We used to be able to bring people onto a site, have conversations, spend a day with them, tour, talk to clients, all those types of things. Today, it's like this. It's a Zoom or it's a team, discussion for an hour and a half, maybe, where you really don't get to know the people as well as you'd like. In fact, we've hired some people, a couple months ago that to this day still aren't on site yet because of the COVID restrictions. So there's been a significant change in pre to post COVID, and we have to continue to, like I said, come up with some innovative ways to keep working through this.
Absolutely. I think this is a topic that a lot of people on this call can relate to. So this one, especially, I want to make sure we open up for input or questions from anybody else.
Don't be shy.
I was gonna say no takers. We got a quiet bunch. It's okay. We got 30. We got 30 minutes. We'll get you.
I'll just say from a public sector perspective, all of you in the private sector make hay because some of us have dealt with hiring freezes, and you know our income, so to speak, is either a tax base or it's a fee that we've kind of lost a little bit, which is going to continue some of those hiring challenges for the public sector. So again, if you've got the resources to hire some of that talent now, do it. Because as soon as our freezes are thawed, we're going to have to go after them as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, like I said, I think post-COVID, I think the markets could get really tight again. And yeah, there are limited people that are really qualified in facilities management.
We actually had sorry, go ahead.
For my organization, we're actually kind of seeing something quite opposite. We're looking at more importantly, our staff that we currently have, and how we can best utilize their services, their expertise, their everything. We service over 100 locations across North America, but we're also looking at other providers to possibly even supplement what we're currently doing with a third party, the CBREs, the JLLs, the CNWs, and those groups out there. So it's kind of the opposite side of the coin, where we're looking at rolling out this platform where we're more of a corporate group rather than those boots on the ground actually doing the work. And I'm interested to see if there are other large companies out there that are doing something similar.
This is Irene. I'm with JLL, and we're global real estate company, so we're kind of in a unique position within with COVID. We're finding that a lot of our clients are reimagining their re-entry, so we're helping them with that. We're also finding that because we are providing facilities management services, that even though clients aren't occupying their spaces, they have to maintain their spaces. So we're still finding that while things are not quite as busy as they would be without COVID, we're still finding that we're still doing fairly good business in this environment.
Yeah, Irene, I mean, I'm with C&W Services. I would agree, especially on our janitorial side, where cleaning and has certainly increased a lot, especially if there's people in the building. So we're seeing greater frequency of high touch cleanings, which is making us then, either have to increase our workforce or, take a look at maybe some sites that we've had to furlough and bring them back and repurpose those. So, especially on the cleaning side, we've seen an increase and a more demand for employees. And you're right, and on the maintenance side too, where buildings have to still be maintained.
Hi, Denise from Datamast. So hi, Carrie.
Hi,
nice
Denise.
to see you. So for us on the town side and school buildings, we've actually hired about 20 part-time per diem custodians directly with the town. But now what we're faced with is, because of the stimulus funding ending December 30th, we're not sure what's going to happen January 1. So now I'm in the position that all of those people I have to let go unless we see Congress pass a bill. So we're literally in a little waiting game right now to find out what we're going to be able to do, because the CARES Act funding is what is funding those positions. And they're doing exactly what Carrie was talking about. They're cleaning all the high touch surfaces, stuff that our existing staff just can't get to because they have their assigned areas to clean. So, I think a lot of municipalities and schools are in the same situation, because a lot of us have had to open our buildings, maybe not to the public, but for our staff in order to function. So that's my comment.
A comment from myself, with Hensel Phelps, one of the things that we have seen is a need to re-emphasize and retrain on customer service. It was something we prided ourselves on before the pandemic, but it seems like as a whole, customer service just isn't what it used to be in just everywhere. And so in order to maintain the expectation we had even before a pandemic, we found ourselves having to, go back to some of the basics with the staff that we do have, and go back to, these are the things that make us successful in our respective roles.
Daniel, that's a great point. And I kind of want to segue and skip ahead into talent development. But before we get to that, we want to kind of dive into talent recruitment. So Carrie, I'm going to kind of let you kick this one off. We want to explore how talent recruitment, how that process differs for hourly versus salaried employees.
Sure, thanks. So I'm sure everyone here as FM professionals has heard or has felt that there's not enough tradespeople out there anymore, right? It's hard to find, licensed trades. It's hard to find people to fill those roles. And, we've heard over the past few years that there's more people retiring than coming into the trades. So a few things that we've done at C&W Services to try to counteract that. We're really casting our net a little bit wider, and we're starting with high school. So we've recently started a program with some of the VOTEC schools, and we have one with the VOTEC school in Boston. And we're getting in front of high school freshmen. So we're starting at the freshman level. We're introducing trades, letting them know that there's another option out there. It doesn't, you don't have to go to college. College, there's another path. And really then every year after that, so we're getting in front of them as freshmen and then reiterating that throughout their high school career and helping them make those choices, especially in the VOTEC school that we work with. There's, I think, 8 programs right now that's geared towards facility management, whether it's HVAC or plumbing or electrical, FM management, that type of thing. Another thing that we haven't done yet, but it's on our roadmap because this is still pretty new to us, is we're looking at, can we take those juniors and seniors and offer them a co-op position? So how do we take those juniors and seniors, now start to introduce them to C&W Services and say, hey, it's a pretty great place to work, let us help you. And then once they graduate, start to transition. So just curious, has anyone else started a program like that? Have you looked into that? Does that make sense?
Kudos to you, Kerriann, for going out to the high schools, because I think that's ideal. I'm hoping to retire in a couple years, and what I found is I came from the school of you fell into it and you learned it and became a career. The beauty right now is that there are so many accredited schools now that do have facility management programs. And they're qualified people that come out of there. But the other fact is that we need to get in front of these kids beforehand so that they know. I mean, they don't know what a facility manager is. They think it's a janitor or they think it's something else.
Yeah.
But we are blessed in the fact that we do have more programs out there that focus on facility management. It's tough. I have somebody that I'm mentoring that works for me, and the hope is for him to take over when I retire. And I took the position for that exact reason, and I'm in the healthcare industry. So it'll be interesting to see, but you're on the right track. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, another thing to look at and that we've done is obviously, we have a large union workforce. So we work closely with our unions. They usually have apprenticeship programs, that type of thing that we can help our people get into and our techs get into. But again, we're really trying to get in front of high schools. And Denise, I don't know if Dedham has VOTEC high schools there, but we're really trying to get in front of kids and introduce the concept of facilities management. And again, you can graduate from high school, not go to college, but still you can earn a significant living, right? So there's other options without having all that student debt, without all of that. The other thing that we're looking into and we have on our plan to expand this program is to offer scholarships to the kids out of VOTEC to help them with their trades training afterwards. So, you know, if you come to work for us as a GM after school, you know, if you're here for, you know, 6 months or, you know, whatever that is, we'll pay for you to go to, you know, the Peterson school, whatever technical school there is to get your HVAC license or to further your electrical studies, that type of thing. So again, we're getting, you know, we're casting our net farther, getting some kids in, and then developing them within, with the hope that then they stay with us and then start to grow through the company.
Yeah,
You
this
know
is
what we've done. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, this is Irene with JLL, and we're doing something similar, although we're not working with high school students, but that could be another avenue. But we're working with students that are going to community college, who aspire to either, you know, get their AA degree or move on to get a BA degree through the Global Workforce Initiative through the IFMA Foundation. So we've been working that, and we're developing apprenticeship programs as well as internship programs for those students. And then we're also working with veterans, not only here in the state of California, but also in Denver and Missouri and a few other places. So, you know, I think it's an exciting time right now. Like many of you, I fell into FM, had no idea what it was. And then one day I woke up and, you know, I was in facilities management. And it's been a great, great career for me. And I aspire to instill that inspiration in others. And I'm so happy that students today have options. You know, they have education that they can go through, whether it's, you know, going through vocational school or going through a college or you know, other organization like IFMA, just to get their, you know, their credentials. So, you know, it's an exciting time, and I think it's a great time for people to get into the field.
Yeah, you know, and another source that we look to quite a bit for that technical, you know, level is we also employ a lot of custodians or janitors, and there's always a percentage of that group that wants to do more and has the aptitude and desire to grow. So we'll offer them training, allow them to almost like on the job training as well as schooling, and try to move those people up through the ranks from a custodian to a helper to a technician to an HVAC tech or electrician, because one, they're good employees, and you want to give them the opportunity, and typically that those employees may have not had opportunities that others have had growing up. So we try to open the doors to our existing employees at the lower levels to give them an avenue to go to whatever level they want to go to, whether that's on the technical side or whether that's more on the FM management side.
Along those lines, if any of you have a Job Corps in your area, in Wilmington, Delaware, our local chapter tried to partner for a while. We tried to partner with Job Corps, but because we're a very small chapter and we don't have a great deal of opportunities. But the idea was to talk to the facility maintenance module of Job Corps, and they are training HVAC technicians and facility maintenance workers, and there have got to be, statistically, there's got to be some really up and coming people in that group desirous of moving up. So that was kind of our focus at the time. It was many years ago, but I've always kept back in my mind that Job Corps is a great resource.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, another one is people coming out of the military. They typically have a lot of good training, hard workers, and they can just, and some of them have a difficult time finding a job, which is amazing to me, but really good people and really good for our industry.
I was an air conditioning refrigeration technician in the Navy, and I got out honorably discharged, and then just started throwing my resume around, and a biotech company in San Diego brought me on as an HVAC technician, and that's when I found out what facilities management is. So tapping into the transitioning military folks that are getting out or retiring it's a huge pool of folks that I had no idea what it is, just like everybody else fell into it, now I've been doing it for 20 years. But yeah, military is great.
Yep, agreed.
That's great. I'm on the occupier side, and so before COVID even, we were seeing kind of a trend towards hospitality for FM in the office. And I'm just curious if people have had success getting people from that industry, and especially now, I guess, post-COVID, there's an opportunity even more because a lot of them are unemployed. But it feels like that level of hospitality, and it was Daniel who talked about customer service. Like, they come from that background, so it feels like they bring it to the table already. I'm just curious if people have had any success.
So Cheryl, oh, go ahead, Dave.
No, I was just going to say, Sodexo, we have a very large food hospitality business along with our FM business, and we've moved several people from that side of the business into the FM. They don't necessarily always bring the technical expertise, but they bring that hospitality and customer service with them. And I could name 3 or 4 or 5 off the top of my head who've made that transition, and they're excellent now. They're running very large accounts and doing just as well as somebody that maybe grew up on the technical side.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dave. This is Irene. I've had this same exact experience. And I was actually, this experience is when I was with Sodexo, where we had a large manufacturing site, and we were looking for a facility manager, and we hired a chef. And it was because that person, had a hospitality, in their blood. And that's exactly what we were looking for, was a relationship manager for the plant manager. And while that person had no technical expertise whatsoever, she did a fantastic job. And, that account is thriving. So it definitely can be done. And I'm a, big supporter of that.
Awesome. I'm going to kind of veer us off in a little bit of a different direction. I feel like we organically covered everything about recruitment and diversifying hires. I want to kind of explore the talent development side of everything. So I want to explore a couple different things. Carrie, I'll let you kick off. We want to kind of compare the differences for talent development with hourly and salaried employees. But I also got a really good question. Somebody asked how we make the sale to our organization that developing FM talent will help the organization's bottom line.
I mean, that's a really good question. And I think there's a pretty simple answer, right? We're only as good as our employees and our people. So we really need to look to our employees and make sure we set them up for success, and whatever that is, down from the janitors to, our high level facility managers to our operations managers and our directors. So developing talent within is really important. And I know, we've kind of all been talking about this for the past, 23 minutes that we've been on with, how do we take, I think Dave said, taking a janitor and giving them a career path towards maintenance, or, taking a general maintenance and giving them a career path towards being, a licensed electrician or an HVAC tech. It's really important to do that. And guess what? It really doesn't cost much money, right? It could cost you $0. You can, if you're down at the site level, you can set up mentor programs. You can buddy people up. It's really easy to have a talented HVAC tech show somebody else or teach somebody else what they're doing. On the flip side, on the salaried or more management track, I think Melissa talked about being a mentor. So that's again something that we do, that I do. We just started that again in CW services, and I just got paired up, and I was paired up with a janitorial supervisor in New York, and I'm super excited to get to know her and help her to develop her career path. So I mean, mentor-mentee relationships are pretty strong, and to be able to, get to know somebody in your organization and help them along and help develop them. Again, the only thing that costs is your time. And I think we can all carve out a few minutes every week to talk to somebody and help them through what we've all probably been through trying to get where we are. So again, it's there's solutions that you can do or programs that you can set up that cost money, like getting people into trade school, that kind of stuff. But there are really simple things that we can start doing at the site level that, again, doesn't cost anything, but the return is you're going to better your workforce. You're keeping good people within your organization and helping them move through.
And Brittany, I just want to jump on that question you actually asked about, how do you convince your company to spend money? And I think the approach you have to take is, if you think about the influence you and your group have on whatever company you're working for, you can negatively impact that or positively impact that very simply. I mean, if you make a few mistakes, you can cost your company a lot of money. If you do things the right way and you set up the workspace right and the workplace right, and help the rest of your employees' productivity go up, you can save the company a lot of money. And I think that's how you have to have that discussion. It's not necessarily you're spending money on an individual just because you want that person to grow. You're spending money on an individual who can have a significant impact on your company one way or the other.
Awesome. And I think that answers another question that we got, and I just want to be sure. We got a question about what do you offer as advice for FMs that have little to no training budget to develop FM talent? I think Kerriann, you touched on that one. So I'm going to go ahead and skip to this next one. And I do want to open this up for everyone as well, because I want to hear if you have personal experience on this one. How do you appropriately institute a talent development initiative within your organization?
This is Irene. I think one of the biggest things is you have to get champions around that. Sometimes it does take a long time to get people involved and engaged, but if you can just get a few champions on your side that understand the value of the initiative that you're bringing forward, you can just do it so much quicker. And then I think you also need to do a, return on investment. Like, what's the value of it and what are you going to get in return? And, the value of doing this is the talent that you're going to bring into your company and, how that talent is going to help the company. So I think if you can look at it like that, like a business proposal, I think you'll have more success. At least that's what's worked for me.
I've been thinking about how to do that, and in terms of like bringing people in maybe through our networks of other facility managers or directors and bringing them into my staff, maybe 10-15-minute little vignettes to share what they know or what, to spark some interest. So it's just more of an opportunity, I think, to share our knowledge. It's free. We can tune into each other's organizations and just kind of share what we know.
Awesome. So we're diving into the last 2 minutes of our session. I want to open it up and just see if anybody else has any more questions or anything else they'd like to add.
Well, this is Robert. We've instituted here in South Texas some endowments through our IFMA chapter. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I didn't see my face. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, and so they're still in their infancy. We had one with Texas A&M, and we have one with UT San Antonio, and we really haven't seen a lot of employment opportunities because the endowments are so small. But we're going to those universities at least once a year. They invite us to speak, and so we go to them and we speak about facility management, how we're so desperate for help, and how, I mean, we don't sound desperate, but we want the future to include these bright young kids that we see sitting in front of us with their, like sponges trying to take everything in. And I am hoping that the seeds that we plant are enabling us to build that or grow that tree, grow that talent that we want. And so time will tell. Thank you.
Great.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Robert. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and close us out. Thank you so much, guys, for joining and participating. I hope you guys enjoyed our first ever roundtable at our first ever virtual World Workplace. Just a reminder, this is recorded, so it will be on the World Workplace website through December 31st. So if you wanna see it again or share it with anybody, absolutely feel free. I do encourage you to connect with Dave and Kerriann on LinkedIn if you wanna continue the conversation as well. Thank you.
All right, thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.